Hello everybody, I'm Yuji.
And I'm Muffin.
And welcome to this video, which makes my heart frown.
As you can see, if I get edited and uploaded on time, it's not a normal Friday video. We hope to be doing a stream later today, hopefully like right after this video comes out. But, you know, since we're planning on doing 2 videos a day, we decided you might as well do this one.
Yeah. Anyways, today we are going to be reviewing some of XxDarkMusical2000's OCs. I would say the little X's, but no.
Big X, little X, DarkMusical2000, little X, Big X OCs.
It sounds so stupid when you say it like that.
It does. So we're starting off with a few of her creepypasta OCs, because she's made
hundreds.
She's made a lot. She's one of those people. So, starting off with the looks, for the most part, I do like your style. You definitely do have talent, that's obvious to see, and there are things I like about these. I like the hair for some of the characters, like Sydney, I like her hair, Eyeless, I like hers. You know, I like the way you do the hair, and the outfits on these look nice. What is throwing me off, though, are the bodies, specifically the waists and the heads. Most of the heads for most of these characters, except for Tiki, you know, her head looks kind of fine. But most of the heads for these, you know, the forehead seems to take up almost 2/3 of the head. All of the waists are also way too small. Like, there are some, if you look at Brianna, her waist is almost the size of her wrists. That's a problem. And, you know, because of those tiny waists, it makes the large breasts you've given all of your characters look unusual, and some of the boobs are very, like, lopsided and uneven because of it. I can understand how people might say, you know, well, maybe that's just her drawing style. And, okay, I've said before, I like her drawing style, but that doesn't excuse the fact that it looks like maybe this artist doesn't know basic anatomy for these little parts. I know many artists personally that draw large heads that draw their characters' bodies, and that's fine, but they still draw them so that everything is, like, proportionally correct in the forehead. It doesn't take up all of the head. And it's okay to draw your characters with big boobs and a slender waist. Like, if you prefer that, that's fine, but you need to make sure that it's all proportional so that you don't have this, you know, this strange effect going on.
Basically, don't pull a One Piece.
So also, on all the arms of these characters, if you look at them, they're a little bit too short, so it makes them look stubby, and also, you know, it puts the tiny arms next to the tiny waist, and doesn't help with that tiny, you know, weird waist effect, because when you have two tiny things next to each other, like, it doesn't make the waist look any bigger, it makes them both look smaller.
Alright, now let's move on to the bio. Holy Mother of God, my OCs look like Mary Sue and rip-offs of the guy's almost gender bend. Same as Jeff the Killer?
Well, that was a little bit hard to understand, but yes, they do. Are these not supposed to be gender bent versions of them? Because they do look like exact gender bent versions of, you know, Slenderman and Eyeless and all this. If they're not supposed to be, then you really need to sit down and try to change them so that they're actually OCs, because these right now are not OCs, they're just gender-bent versions of, like, actual creepypasta characters that people know and love.
Like those motherfucks comment and thinking of my Undertale OCs like Metaton, Alphys, Papyrus, and Sans.
Maybe it's because, you know, some of those OCs you have for that you listed off also literally look like gender-bent versions of Metaton, Alphys, Papyrus, and Sans.
Anyway, so say hello to Brianna, Sydney, Eva, Lolina, Tiffany, Molly, Holly, and Lilith. But I don't wanna.
And I'm not gonna say too much about the names, because, you know, this is your personal preference as an artist, it's fine. But some of the names you've given these gender-bent versions of the characters, they really don't seem to fit the characters. Like, the name you've given for your Slender Woman, Slenderman, as far as I know, doesn't have a first name, so I don't think the gender-bent version would either. And even if it did, you know, Sydney doesn't really seem to, like, yes, they both start with S's, but that really doesn't fit a Slender Woman. So, yeah, a lot of these names just don't fit.
Please don't comment on my beautiful artwork.
You put this on the internet for everyone to see. Not only did you put this on the internet for everyone to see, you put this on DeviantArt, a website specifically designed for artists to share their work and get critiques. I can understand you not wanting to get hate or spam in your comments, but you really can't control people commenting with helpful criticism. And I think a good artist will or writer, will always accept criticism and takes that into consideration when making characters writing stories.
Update 8.18.16. I changed up rip-off and female version of Tiki Toby was Tiki Tiffany. Will I know the names at the end of Y or IE is also give me difficult.
Excuse me, what?
Update 8.27.16. Sorry for my decisions because...
That's not how you spell decisions.
Because Emma has her name in an iDoll version. The name will be changed is Eyeless Eva.
You need to read through all of this because, throughout the bio there are a lot of sentences like this where it's just, like, is that English? That's really, it's hard to understand what you're saying. None of it makes sense. And, also my question is, how can you name these characters things like Eyeless and Slenderman and so on, but then get mad when people point out that these are obviously just generate versions of these characters, which really doesn't make them OCs.
Okay, now we're moving on to the next pair of OCs. These are Moana OCs.
And Donia Z. Hairgrove and Lena Frederica K. O'Neill IV.
I can feel some of you cringing now.
So I have to look... these characters, I have to hand it to you, these characters are interesting. Now, when I look at these characters, I personally don't like them. While I personally don't like them too much, mostly because, something about both of them reminds me of characters from Sailor Moon, and I was never able to get into that anime, so that's why I don't like them. I can see why others would like them. So, don't take that as me hating on these. I just, personally, they remind me of something I just don't like. As for, Moana OCs, as you've called them, about these characters, that strikes me as Moana. Like, with Steven Universe OCs, you see them and you go, oh, okay, that's Steven Universe OC, because something about it looks like characters from Steven Universe. Or, with, creepypasta characters, something about them just, oh yeah, creepypasta character. Nothing about this really looks like a Moana character. I'm not saying they don't look nice, there's just nothing in them that really stands out as being... belonging in that universe. And again, with these characters, you have the problem with the waist being disproportionately small and the breasts being lopsided. You also have the same problem with the heads and the arms, as I mentioned earlier. But a new thing that I noticed with your character, Andodonia, if that's how you pronounce her name, is that her feet almost look like hands. And I can understand that feet and hands are both really hard to draw, so it's not too big of a deal. But it might help if you made her toes not so long.
On to the bio. Say hello to my OCs. Is Andronia and Frederica. Or
Federica?
Frederica. Name, Andonia Z. Hairgrove. Or call her name Andonia Hairgrove.
While that first name is, interesting, correct me if I'm wrong, but Andonia doesn't really sound like a Hawaiian name. And neither does Hairgrove, and Moana, the universe is, Hawaiian.
That, and I'm pretty sure in the time period Moana is set in, they don't have last names. Nickname, Andy, age 26.
This also isn't a big deal, but the drawing that you have for her doesn't look like a 20-year-old. It looks more like a 16-year-old or something younger than that.
Alignment, good.
I'm not sure if alignment is really necessary for these characters. It would be worth mentioning if they're evil, saying in the backstory that, this is an evil person or something, but alignment really isn't necessary.
Weapon, magic wand, and yeah, in Moana, Maui has a magic fish hook, but keep in mind, he is also a demigod. That and magic wand really doesn't fit the universe. Maybe if she happens to be like a demigod, which you'd have to create a very good backstory to convince me of this, you should give her magic earrings or a magic necklace, a magic item that fits that universe.
Yeah, the magic wand is one of the things that threw me off, because when I first saw this, I saw the magic wand, I'm like, oh, this is a freaking Sailor Moon OC, and I don't like that anime. There's nothing about that strikes me as, a Moana OC.
Friends. Piper the Cave Cedron, Harbor, Studia Rod Fusili, Stella Rodriguez, Anna F. Yancey, Isabella Fujiwara, and Luis Ramirez.
I have no idea who any of these people are, which, I guess is a good thing because at least they're not canon people. But, since this character is supposed to be Moana OC, like we said earlier with the name, it would make more sense if all these people had Hawaiian names, since the universe I haven't seen the movie yet, so I don't know, but from everything I know of, they don't leave Hawaii, right? The universe is Hawaii.
I know they are, on an island. I don't know if the island is, part of Hawaii, but...
Okay, but either way,
it's a Hawaiian-based movie, essentially.
So the universe is basically, Hawaii. It would make sense if they all had Hawaiian names.
Enemies: Frederica O'Neill, Monica Fujiwara, Mimi, Colleen, Emuard the Koopa.
As in Koopa Troopa?
These names are very hard to pronounce. Beltruliza de Blanco, Witch Pauline Marshall.
And this is her second OC.
Name: Frederica O'Neill.
That really isn't a Hawaiian name.
Full name: Lena Frederica K. O'Neill the Fourth.
That's a little excessive there.
Codename: the Evil Moonlight Queen.
So is she supposed to be like the Hawaiian goddess of the moon? Because I know a lot of the characters in this movie were based off of gods, right? So she's supposed to be the goddess of the moon, because that role is already taken by a goddess named Hina, if I'm pronouncing that correctly. Perhaps this could be your evil twin or something. Either way, that needs to be explained.
Or, like they actually did in the Moana movie, you could just base your character around Hina, like what the directors of Moana did with Maui and Tamatoa. Nicknames: Fred, Rika. Age: over 30 years old.
Okay, she actually looks her age.
Alignment: evil.
And again, I don't think alignment is necessary. In the backstories, if you've written one for any of these, it would be good to note that they're evil, but I don't think alignment is necessary.
Magic powers: Luna Blaster Energy.
What does that do? That really needs explained. It bothers me when people create powers with their character. When your character has fire or something like that, that's fine, you don't need to explain that. But if your character has something like Luna Blaster Energy, you can't just put that. You need to take the time to explain what the heck that does. And the allies and enemies are just switched from the beginning.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh,
really.
They are. I'm not rereading those.
Nope.
Sorry, folks. It's hard to read. Her theme song is My Last Breath by Evanescence.
And a theme song is rarely ever needed for an OC, especially OCs like these. It's just not needed.
It's really not. If you really, really, really want to add a theme song for your character, I guess go ahead, but just know it's not necessary.
So on to her next two, and these are
Rise of the Guardians.
Rise of the Guardians OCs. Chloe Cupid and Mallory White Pride.
Starting out with the looks, I really do like these designs.
I agree. I like, the outfit designs and everything, but again, you're having problems with the body.
And because we were never introduced to a Cupid in the Rise of the Guardians, I can kind of let you get away with making a Cupid character. As for Mallory, the only thing I can suggest is changing her hair a bit. Maybe instead of giving her dark blue tips in her hair, give her blue tinted hair instead.
Yeah, I think switching the colors, so maybe her hair is dark blue at the top leading into almost gray at the bottom, would look really pretty.
And I assume she's supposed to be wearing an old Victorian style dress. And I do like the dress you have on her right now. I can definitely see the Victorian style of it. But I do think it would be good for you to reference other types of Victorian-style dresses. Now, on to the bio. This is my first Rise of the Guardian OC.
You mean OCs, just in plural, because, there are two.
Say hello to Chloe and Mallory. No. Name: Chloe Cupida.
I understand that she's supposed to be Cupid, but having Cupid in your last name seems, a bit cheesy, I think. It would make more sense and also sound cute if you put something like Lovegood as the last name. Chloe Lovegood to reference love. It also sounds a bit cheesy, but cheesy in a good way, not kind of a cringy way.
Nickname: Fallen Angel.
Why? Why is her nickname Fallen Angel? That does make sense because, fallen angels, if you're religious at all or any of that, are commonly known as demons.
Age: 17. Holiday: Valentine's Day. Guardian: love. Okay, so while I don't mind your character being a Cupid, I find it hard to believe that she would be a Guardian. Because if I remember correctly, it's been some time since I've last seen this movie, Guardians are only chosen when they are seriously needed. Like when a new one is needed to be added into the group. So you would have to come up with a really good backstory to convince us that your character was chosen to be a Guardian.
And, that's possible. You could definitely write a good backstory about how, years in the future, the world, things are getting bad, love is hard to find, and so they call upon a new Guardian, and that is, boom, Cupid. You could definitely write a really solid backstory for this, but until then, it gives the character a bit of a feeling of Mary Sue-ness just because you don't have that backstory to back it up.
Type, Cupid. I don't think you need to write that down.
Yeah, it's obvious what type she is.
Mm-hmm. Wearing beanie, plaid V t-shirt, strap, white shorts, long stripe.
That should be striped.
Socks and striped socks and pink lace boots. Weapons, bow, magically pink arrows.
Magically pink, or do you mean magical pink arrows?
Alignment, good.
Again, alignment isn't really needed. Because this character is a Guardian, we can tell she's good.
I can only imagine if a bad guy was chosen to be a Guardian.
Oh,
I mean, can you imagine Pitch Black being chosen to be a Guardian? That would cause a lot of problems. Likes, relationship, flying around, group hugs, protecting children, hang out, having fun with her friends, flowers, Valentine cards, chocolate candy, teddy bears, stories, playing with baby tooth.
So I do like how you wrote, a lot of likes for this like section. That's good. But why is this one of your only characters to have an actual likes and dislikes section? Why do none of the other characters have that?
Dislikes, despair, feathers, fall.
Falling, you should say.
Off, breaking the bow. Wait.
What? Breaking
her bow?
Her bow? I don't know.
Okay, nightmares, ghosts, scary stuff. Invisible.
That's not how you spell invisible.
And what's that mean? Like she doesn't like things that are invisible? Doesn't like being invisible?
That's confusing.
Hatred, jealousy, lost her life.
What? This doesn't feel like it belongs in a dislike section. It would be better to save that for a backstory, because everyone dislikes losing their life, but that's just an odd dislike thing.
Forgotten. You
mean being forgotten?
No having fun and hang out. Trapped. Chained.
Okay, so this is getting a little odd. You put some odd dislikes in here, and you really need to explain that in the backstory, because if that's part of her story, we need to know that, or else we're really confused as to, why does she have chained and dislikes? Of course, everyone has chained, nobody except for, if you're into that stuff, likes getting chained up. So why is that important enough to actually be written as a dislike?
Sacrifice.
See? That's weird to put in dislikes.
I like sacrifices.
Okay, well,
I'm sorry.
You're strange, Yuji.
Crying, running, ruining Valentine's Day. That looks like running from here. Broke up, divorced.
That's not how you spell divorced.
Suicidal. These are weird, and the way you wrote them, it makes literally no sense.
Yeah, it's all very confusing.
Allies, Jack Frost, Nicholas St. North, Tuthina, E. Asterbunny, Sandman.
Okay, so usually I say, I don't like interaction with canon characters unless you have a good backstory with, to back it up. But for an OC like this, who is also a Guardian, it makes sense for her to be allied with them. But again, you still need to have the backstory to explain how she became a Guardian.
Enemies, Pitch Black, Mallory White Pride.
So she's not, later on we'll talk about other evil Guardian characters she's made. She's not enemies with any other Guardian characters you've made. That doesn't make sense.
On to Mallory White Pride. Her age is unknown. Affiliation, the Ghost Queen. Type, ghost/femme fatal?
Fatale. And, Yuji and I kind of got conflicted about this, because I think it could be a good idea for a villain and also, a good character. It could easily go both ways. But if you don't have a good backstory to back it up, being the Ghost Queen just seems like an odd thing to put in this universe specifically.
Mm-hmm. Wearing long white dress. That dress is not white. It's purple. Her minions, Banshee. That should be Banshees.
Plural.
Alignment, chaotic evil. Likes, story.
That's not spelled right. It should be destroying.
The Guardians. Cursed.
That's not how you spell cursed.
Children, kill the lights.
What? What does that mean?
Evilly.
You mean evil?
Relationship, ghosts and nightmares. Her favorite little animal is mouse. What? In love with pitch black.
That does not belong in a like section. We'll talk about that more later.
Roses, red, black roses, and purple roses. Care with Chloe.
What? Okay, one, I'm confused about that sentence because you worded it oddly, and also, aren't she and Chloe enemies?
Someone calling her a godmother.
That's a bit of an odd like, but okay.
It almost sounds like the daddy kink.
Oh dear. Oh dear.
Dislikes, invisible.
Also not spelled right.
Gets beaten up. Gets beating up?
I don't know.
The hole.
That sounds very ominous, just, the whole.
That, I think what they're referring to here is, in the end of Rise of the Guardians, spoiler for any of you who hasn't seen it, Pitch Black gets dragged into a hole in the middle of the woods by his nightmares.
Oh.
So I think that's what she's referring to.
I'd be afraid of the hole, too.
Someone calling her a hoe or a whore. That's not how you spell whore.
Yes, whore is spelled W-H-O-R-E, and I think that's something everything dislikes. So again, with common dislikes like that, I find it odd that people put those in their dislikes, because, everyone dislikes being called a whore and so on. Why is that? Why did you need to mention that? It's obvious.
Fun and love, all the ghosts get killed.
But, ghosts were killed or died in the first place. That's what made them ghosts. How do you kill a ghost in this universe?
Salt and burn the bones.
Ugh.
Golden Sands, afraiding.
Afraiding? Do you mean scaring?
Herself. Missing her memories, lost her lives. So she was alive before becoming the Ghost Queen.
It feels like this is kind of an odd, it feels like you're taking bits and pieces of Jack's backstory for this.
Yeah,
And I don't know how I feel about that.
Illness, death, going back to hell.
Back to hell? What?
But hell is the best place to be. That's where Crowley is.
You're obsessed.
Yeah, I am. Never cares with Chloe.
I'm confused. I am confused.
I am confused as well. Allies, pitch black.
She's not allied with any of your other Guardian villains? Why not?
I don't know, maybe she hates them just as much.
Maybe.
Enemies, Jack Frost, Nicholas St. North, Tuthina, E. Aster Bunny, Sandman, Chloe Cupida.
See, you have her in her enemies! Why do you have stuff about, caring with Chloe throughout this bio?
Alright, on to her next Rise of the Guardian OC, which is
the daughter of Pitch Black and Mallory White Pride. Magnolia Gray, who then turns into Mother Vampire. Oh, God.
Say hello to 2017 OC daughter, Magnolia Gray.
Starting off with the looks, I gotta say I do like their outfits. But the hair on this one has the same problem as Mallory's, where it looks a little off like that. Again, it would look really cute if you switched the colors around and had red fading into almost a gray color like this. You can see in this picture, I think that looks adorable. You also have the same body proportion problems with these as you do in your other OCs, so I'm not going to go into much detail on that, just point it out. One thing that's really throwing me off, though, with your Mother Vampire is how the parts of her eyes that should be the whites are black. I can understand the red eyes because she's a vampire, but the black looks...
It makes her seem like a demon.
Yeah, it looks odd, really odd. If these two are supposed to be the same OC, just, pre-vampire and post-vampire, then it would make more sense for you to change Magnolia, the pre-vampire eyes to brown or something, and then her post-vampire eyes to be red with, normal whites.
She is the daughter of Pitch Black and Mallory White Pride. Okay, say what now? Okay, one, I don't think they could even have kids. One's a ghost, and the other is the embodiment of nightmares, or spirit. Can they even have kids? 2, even if they could have kids, you have to write an amazing backstory to convince anyone that Pitch freaking Black would even want to have a child with your OC.
Yeah, I agree. Pitch does not strike me as the kind of guy to fall in love and have a baby with anyone. It's almost like, people shipping their character with Jeff the Killer. Ladies, it's not possible. Jeff is a psycho. He's not gonna love your kid. And Pitch doesn't care about anyone.
Yeah. And 3, this and this do not make this. Okay, Her skin and the gray hair. Yeah, I kind of get. But how did she get the red eyes? And where did the red in her hair come from? Did she dye her hair? But even then, that doesn't make much sense. Her mother is a ghost and her father is a mere embodiment of nightmares. I don't think ghosts or spirits can dye their hair, and I definitely don't think those two things create a being with the ability to dye their hair, if that makes any sense at all.
And again, we understand that, these aren't real characters. That's fine. We understand that these aren't real things, but there are still certain canon rules for each universe that you have to follow. There's certain logic that each universe has, and, this isn't logical.
That, and we're just very passionate about writing and creating.
Very passionate.
So, it's kind of hard for us not to get upset over something that's badly written.
Mm-hmm.
Her age is maybe 13 or 14, I think. How is it that you don't know your own character's age? I mean, if you were to put unknown, I would be a bit more okay with that, but the fact that you just wrote maybe 13 or 14, I think, is a bit odd. Anyways, Magnolia had an unhappy
what?
Because she doesn't know how to fun or anything.
Doesn't know how to fun anything. Having fun is something that basically just comes naturally to kids. Like, I work with kids a lot. It's something that comes, like, even if they come out of really bad households, that's something that comes naturally to them. It doesn't make sense that she just wouldn't know how to have fun, so her whole life was horribly unhappy.
That, and if her father is pitch black, how could you not have fun playing with his nightmares?
Because they're terrifying, but anyway.
They're cute. I love them.
You're weird.
I would love to pet one. When she come up with her idea...
What idea?
She'll become Mother Vampire.
You need a good story to explain all this. I don't understand how a daughter of this and this can create this and then become freaking Mother Vampire.
That and Mother Vampire... I'm sorry, it sounds stupid. Like, Mother Vampire sounds stupid. Maybe you could just call her the mother of vampires, but not Mother freaking Vampire.
Yeah, I agree. It does sound a little bit, like you're going through your emo phase and making this character.
That means Mother Nature / Seraphina has a sister.
Excuse me. So I don't know if Mother Nature is like an OC you created or what, but just because this person is Mother Vampire doesn't mean she's now related to Mother freaking Nature. That's not how relation works.
But don't worry, for soon later, Seraphina and Magnolia are sisters.
What?
What the fuck?
And even if she care about her friend Chloe and her guardians.
What? But she's... Oh, I don't understand this. Are you saying that she cares about Chloe and her guardians? Okay, going back up to the top of this bio here for her, she is chaotic, freaking evil. Chaotic, you can't have a chaotic, evil character befriend good characters. That's not how chaotic evil works.
Then I don't know what's her decisions.
How do you not know your OC's own decisions? They are your OCs.
They're your creations. You decide what their decisions are. You decide what they like and dislike. You decide their personality. It's not like these are real people whom you don't know. From now on, this is gonna be a black, white, and gray family from their lair.
What does that mean?
Okay, on to, I believe these are more Rise of the Guardian OCs.
We have Aurora Lavender, Guardian of Glory, Albreda, I think that's how I pronounce it, Pride, Cullen, the Witch of Blackguard, and Goliath Goth, the Black Widow. So, first impressions on these characters. I can understand that since these come from Rise of the Guardians fandom, you'd want to make your own. These, however, don't really feel like practical Guardians. While fun and wonder and hope that all the other Guardians are modeled after seem like logical things for a person to be a Guardian of, Glory doesn't really seem to fit that Guardian theme very well. And as for your villains, the Witch of Blackguard, also, it doesn't seem to fit in... There's nothing in that tells me, it fits in this universe. I do, however, think that, the Black Widow, as long as you write it right, it could be turned into a really good villain, almost like Pitch. I think you could work with that. Again, the only critiques I have on the looks of these characters are the usual things we said for all the other characters, and the fact that the fingers on Black Widow look a bit too long.
Say hello to Aurora, Albreda, and Goliath.
Aurora and Albrita are interesting names for characters. Goliath, on the other hand, seems like a bit of an unusual name. I mean, to each their own, I suppose, but personally I see Goliath as, one, a male name, and two, a name that doesn't really fit this character or this universe. Because, as far as I know, correct me if I'm wrong, because I might be wrong, but from the movies I've seen, it looks like, most of this universe is set in the present now, and this really isn't like a modern day name.
Now, let me explain. I know this is going to be hard to make ref, but I can handle their names and ages.
Not sure exactly what that means, but okay.
But remember, it's not real, it's just by OCs.
We know that, of course, but with each universe that people make OCs for, there are certain canon rules that have to be followed, and if you don't follow them, it makes your character seem very Mary Sue-ish. You have to follow those rules so as not to make your character just seem overpowered and Mary Sue-like.
Aurora Lavender, the Guardian of Glory, her age was 24. What do you mean
Again,
was?
It feels like for a lot of these characters, you keep taking bits and pieces of Jack's backstory.
Aurora can able to see the sky when the Guardians will see her along with the Man in the Moon and Nightlight.
I don't understand that at all. The way you've written this is really confusing, so I don't understand what her power actually is. And that's the end of Aurora's part of the bio. This was really short, and we haven't learned much about her at all because of that shortness.
Aubrietta Pride Cullen.
That last name just makes me have flashbacks to the days of Twilight. Why would you hurt your character with that name?
The Witch of Black Garden. Her age was unknown. Again with was. Why was? Mallory's sister has been looking and searching for her like 100 years ago, and that is
like
Magnolia's...
hundreds of years?
I think so. And that is Magnolia's aunt.
Wait, so she's Mallory's sister? I'm not sure how I feel about this. And also, she's Magnolia's aunt? I'm a little bit confused about the relations here.
Aubriette will enjoy keep her woods and guarded safe by the children at night.
Do you mean, you say safe by the children, do you mean from the children?
Goliath Goth.
Again, Goliath is more of a male name, and since this universe seems to be mostly set in the present, Goliath isn't a name that fits with the universe. Also, the last name of Goth paired with who the Black Widow is feels a bit cringy, kind of like you're trying too hard to make her, goth.
The Black Widow, her age is 18. Goliath is kind, bitter creature because she's making scare children and adults of spiders. They tell them not to play bugs and insects, otherwise it can kill with poison, and never allowed to bring them back to life.
The way you've written this, I really don't understand. I don't feel like I understand much. Let me try to get this straight. Are you saying that she, controls bugs, makes kids afraid of them, and has the bugs bite the children, killing them with the poison that doesn't allow them to be regenerated? If so, then you need to slow down and try writing this with more detail so that we can all understand. If you do write this correctly, I think it'd actually be an interesting power, her controlling bugs, and she's the reason people are afraid of them. Although I do feel like that's stepping a bit too much on Pitch's territory of nightmares and everything, fear and everything.
Or are you trying to say that she doesn't like the fact that parents won't let children play with bugs because they are apparently poisonous and will kill them? Like, it's very hard to understand what you're going for in that bio.
So, final thoughts. First thing I want to point out, none of these characters had a backstory. All of their bios were very short, and none of them have a personality section. With everything you put here for your characters, a backstory is crucial. Like, I don't know how to explain that any more than just it's so important to make your character good. There are just so many questions that we have, as you saw, throughout the whole thing of reading their bios. And also, you linked several of your characters up as being related, and also a canon character into this. It's confusing for me to, figure out the relation of everything, and a backstory really helped to clear all that up. Because you kept each character's bio so short, we really didn't get to know these characters all, which not only doesn't help with the questions we have, but, when you say all these things about the character, all these big things that we just find hard to believe, but you keep their bios so short, it makes all the characters, it gives them a feeling of, a bit Mary Sue-like.
Okay, so you have a ton of OCs in your gallery, but you hardly put any time and effort into creating them. All of these just seem like you got an idea, you wrote down the basics, posted it, and called it good. You didn't bother to go through and develop any of these characters. That, and a lot of them, specifically your creepypasta OCs, don't seem like OCs. They're more like gender-bent versions of already existing creepypastas. It would be good for you to go through all of your characters and give them all the time and love they deserve.
I agree. Like, it is not bad to have a ton of ideas for characters. YouTube is always telling you about new ideas that you got for characters, games, books, so on. That's not bad. It's good to be creative like that. You just need to take the time to develop them. It really hurts me to read through these OCs and see how, I'm sorry, I don't mean to be mean, but how obviously little time you put into them, and to see how, on one of their bios, like, you wrote at the top that, I know they're all Mary Sue's and ripoffs and so on, and that you don't care. At least to me, my OCs are like my babies. I cannot stand to leave one of my babies undeveloped and be okay with people thinking that they're Mary Sue's. Also, you have a ton of characters, which again isn't bad, but like we saw with your Moana OCs, some of them feel like you got the idea for a character, but couldn't decide on a fandom to put it in, so you just stuck a bunch of fandoms on a dartboard and threw a dart to choose. We're not trying to be mean here. Like, again, we said there's things about your characters we do really like. We do like your outfit designs. I think your outfit designs are great. In order to make a good character, there's things that really are necessary, and I don't feel like, for all of these, I don't feel like you took the time and effort to put into them to make them feel, genuine and good.
Alright, well, that's it for this video. I do hope you guys enjoyed. I'm Yuji.
And I'm Muffin.
And we are Constructive Criticism.
See you in the next video.